Mark Bell from supertraining.tv. Got some max effort bench presses for you with some chains. I sometimes refer to this as a chain gang bench. This is Riley going, and you can see his butt's coming up, and I talked to him about this in a little bit, about how he's kind of heaving the weight, and the weight, if you go back and watch that again, the weight's coming down in two different speeds. It's coming down, he's staying tight at first, and he just kind of drops the weight down, so you can listen in on some of this, kind of hear some of the commentary. Like that, what that does is, these are not really bench pressing the weight, it's a little bit more of a heave, and then as soon as anything's tired, you try to rely on actually trying to get into a press, you can't do it. Just be real cautious of that. It's gotta, you want to try to stay tight on all of them, really use your arms, you know? Especially in training. That face is making, is he absorbing any of this? All those things are important, but it's training, so you really want to press with your arms harder. What I do is I just flex my legs the whole time. Legs are flexed, ass is flexed.
Yeah, my legs on my ass are flexing that one.
Try to just flex it the whole time. And then even further on that, you want to make your training harder than the competition itself, so you can do a lot of exercises where you're not using any leg drive at all. But for you, it's still unfamiliar, so you want to try to practice it. But things like a floor press with your legs flat, things like that are really good because there's no legs involved. It's all saw arms. Really good assistance for you. I say a lot about the bench press. I've never seen anyone gain any strength who drops the weight and basically bounce it / heaves it. Kind of see heaving more from powerlifters than you do than a regular traditional bounce. But a heave is when they come down fairly slowly, and then they just drop it the last 3 to 4 inches, and then they all of a sudden kick their leg drive into it. I've never seen anybody get stronger with that method. So you want to press with your arms. You want to try to make your arms stronger, especially when you're talking about training. You can see here as I set the weight into my arms. Yeah, I'm benching a little bit high, but so what? The raw bench press has really nothing to do with my shirted bench press, so I bench a little differently. Some guys that are really, really thick and can arch really well and have a huge gut, maybe their raw bench does simulate their shirted bench and vice versa, but for me, it's quite different. You can see there Riley again, his hips were coming up. You want to try to keep your legs tight throughout the whole movement. You see a little wobble in my legs there, but I'm trying to keep my legs tight throughout the whole movement, actually forcing my legs outward, just like I would on a squat or a sumo deadlift. You can see here as he came down and he really just kind of bounced it off his gut there a little bit. Try to come down all one speed. Something that would help Riley quite a bit would be pausing the weight. Got him to do a 1 to 2 second pause on the chest. It would help eliminate some of that. You also always want to make your training harder than the contest. You can see there Riley, that was a pretty strong press by him, and he's handling some good weights, but his butt's coming up, so we'll have to work on that with him. Greg Buffington locking out some pretty good weights as he prepares for our meet here in November. There's Juan Laiha, who's preparing for the meet as well. So now we got about 3 chains on there and about 5 plates. Had a lousy lift off from the side guy there in the blue. I don't want to mention any names. I don't know if he fell asleep or if he's daydreaming or what happened. But, everyone has their turn, you know what I mean? So that's the way to bench press right there. That's pretty good form. The elbows can maybe come in a little bit more and be a little bit more tucked. But that's pretty good bench press form right there. There's Treston Scholl handling some good weights in the Sling Shot. Treston's doing our meet here in November also, so he worked up to a pretty heavy weight with the Sling Shot on, but that was about it for the day. He didn't, we didn't want him to do anything too dangerous or anything too crazy. This is Biggie Bird lifting off for me with his yellow feathers. I got 505 on here and about 3 chains per side. Very brutal lockout right there. Something I got to keep working on. This is Jim Sheffield doing a 2-board bench press. Again, the board work is just partial range of motion work. It can help you handle more weight. It can also help you perfect your technique if you're trying to mimic the full range versus the 2-board work. That was just some craziness right there by Riley. And then this is a good contrast between the way Riley benched and the way this bench goes right here. It's a lot better form right there. A lot of times you're going to see, people with better form are going to be the guys that are stronger. So of course they can have better form because the weights are relatively light to them, but the two go hand in hand. You want to build up strong arms. So now I got the reactive Sling Shot on and 200 pounds of chain. That was about 515, I believe. Here goes Big Jim again. The 315 and about 3 chains per side, around 120 pounds of chains or so. There's Bootsy, the new mascot. Got some pretty good work in on this day. Ended up getting in a couple of good raw sets and then a few sets with the reactive Sling Shot on. This is 545 and 200 pounds of chains. Brutal lockout. You can see I had to kind of throw my hips up a little bit to lock that one out. You want to try to keep those hips down the best you can. There's Damon with a good strong lockout again. Huge pipes. Can't ask for much more than that. Here's Robot going in his Phenom shirt. Robot always has good form on just about everything, so he's a good person to mimic. Stays real patient with it. He could have easily flared his elbows out, or he could have easily went towards his belt more. He stayed patient with it. He cut into the strength of the shirt, utilized the shirt to its potential, and then pressed the weight back up. Robot finishing up the day with a little bit of rep work. We were hoping he would get around 5 reps with this weight. Doing board presses in a stretchy shirt is pretty difficult sometimes, just because the shirt really kicks in after once you get down to a 2-board and a 1-board. That's it from supertraining.tv.